that didn't fucking work.
Good evening. Welcome to the Ammunation. Is everything all right there? Your mum gay?
No, your mom gay.
Your mum gay.
Damn, dude. This lighting sucks. You can't see the awesomeness of this fucking mask. Look at this shit.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ammunation. I'm your host, Canada Man. Unfortunately, your regular host, Craig Bragg, couldn't be here tonight. He's at a Halloween party with his wife. I think he's a sumo wrestler or a pickle or something stupid like that. Anyway, joining me tonight is the evil twin of Irving Twin and Yamum Gay, who's sitting on a porch in a darkly lit house.
Y'all are probably going to get a impromptu face reveal here in a second because I can't smoke in this fucking thing.
Well, whoever designed your mask should have a talking to. You should have a talking to with them. Thankfully, Craig Bragg left his vape for me, so I'll be able to vape tonight. How are you gentlemen doing?
Good. Had a little birthday dinner not too long ago. Got pumpkins to carve with the kiddos later. Put up some tombstones in the front yard. Been a good day. Elon Musk made me $50, y'all.
Oh, did you have stock in Twitter or?
No, so I dropped $50 on Doge like fucking months ago.
Oh.
And then I happened to check my wallet today, and it was like up to like $100. So I pulled out the 50 I made, and I'm just waiting to see how much I can make off of the profit.
Which is incredible because a lot of people are accusing him right now of a pump and dump scheme. That he talked it up, it got really, really big, had some sort of crash along with all other crypto at the time, right? And because you just held on, you made money.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it wasn't a lot. I don't know how. I'm hoping, dude, if it shoots up to $1 again, I'll make a decent little bit of profit. Go, Elon. To the moon, baby.
I've heard that he may be purchasing Rumble.
Interesting.
If he does that, you think he's going to like combine it into Twitter to give Twitter some kind of like video platform? Because they used to have Vine, right? Back in the day.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I can't keep this up. I'm sorry, guys. I was going to try and stay in character the whole night, but I can't. I'm going to talk normal.
It's all right. I'll still call you Canada Man.
Thank you, evil twin.
That's cool. I'll call you Canada Man, but Irving, you're faggot for the rest of the night, so be prepared for that.
Shit happens.
What are you? What are you supposed to be? Some kind of butthole demon? Is that what the horns are for?
Pretty much.
Yeah, he's a butthole demon.
I couldn't be arsed to go find a new costume, so I found 10-year-old prosthetics and spirit gum. Like, I hope this still works.
It all works.
Hey, I've been wearing this mask for the past 6 years. Every Halloween, I just keep adding shit to it. Like, what is it? Which face? What side is it? And I got like a ring strapped to it. I wired the jaw shut. Got all kinds of shit on it. Did the custom paint job. Every year, something else gets added to it.
I threw this together in literally a week. I mean, I've been collecting a lot of the elements, but in the last week, I've been like going nuts trying to get it.
So what did you do? Did you just paint a mask?
Or mask? I cut it was like a mouthless mask. It's like a rubber mask that looked like skin tone, but it had no mouth. So I cut the hole and then I plasti dipped it red. And I got a Cricut to cut some craft foam, stuck it on here. And then I got this BMX armor, put a black maple leaf there.
Hell yeah.
So,
you kind of fucked up though, man. You didn't paint it red, and I guess you didn't have time though, did you?
Well, I kind of want some contrast. Like I needed some white in there, right? It can't just be red and black.
Yeah, like, Canadian colors. Red and white, but never blue away.
I put the black in there because Black Lives Matter,
Well, shit. Calm down, Kanye.
Yo.
Hey, cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
All right, so we got a couple comments from Costin. Costin says, "Greetings, wonderful seeming, and wonderful adjacent people." I don't think there's any of those here tonight. We're all evil sons of bitches tonight. Well, except for Canada Man. He's a good heroic fellow.
I got to give you props though,
You
man.
guys
That's
look differently evil.
more effort than most people would put into a costume. I was actually expecting what was the Marvel Captain Canuck, Captain America ripoff that they threw you guys to make you stop bitching.
Yeah, Captain Canuck. Yeah, he was going to be called Captain Canada. They decided, no, let's call him Captain Canuck.
And he's pretty fucking cool, actually. I have a Captain Canuck #1.
Of the most recent or the original?
No, I think it's like a 2010 reboot.
They did an animated, like a brief animated series. It's a bunch of shorts that actually aren't bad. They're animated pretty good. Yeah. Now, Captain Canuck's cool. But I decided to make Canada Man after my City of Heroes character. So.
Tell him where Canada Man's from.
Oh, he's from Swastika, Ontario, of course.
Nice.
Show the gloves.
Hell yeah.
These are Plague Doctor gloves from Spirit Halloween. They're the only thing I had that was like approaching a gauntlet. So.
Hell yeah, man. Mine for actual Halloween Monday. So I've got wings and I've got a fucking prop chainsaw and my big black trench coat that I wear that I've had since I was like 14. This thing looks all ragged and tattered, and I've just been telling everybody I'm the angel of Keck. I'm gonna wear this with it. So I get this chainsaw and I've got like half a gallon of fake blood I'm gonna douse myself in before we go running the streets and shit.
Nice. You know, that's one thing I really kind of like think is cool about the United States is you guys have all of these haunt places, like all these people who do like their private haunts in their homes, and then other people who have like permanent setups where they, people come through, they pay money, and they go through these haunted houses. I'm like, we don't have anything like that in Canada. I mean, we in the tourist trap areas, we got like nightmares and things like that. But these people are like out in the woods or out in rural areas, and they've set up an old farmhouse to be this big haunted attraction for people.
We've got working farms that do haunted hay rides and shit like that. That's like a big thing, especially here in Kentucky. The haunted hay rides. There's a farm not too far from my place, and every year they've got the Halloween thing they do, and then in November they do a fall fest where they've actually built permanent little structures where they've got they got a barn that they converted into like a kitchen, and they sell hot dogs and hot chocolate and burgers and stuff like that. And then they've got little pavilions set up where they'll have live bands play and a couple fire pits. They'll get bonfires going. They've got all their animals set up so you can get on a hayride and go see like their buffalo and their chicken. Some of them they have some llamas sometimes, shit like that.
We have those here too, but I mean like I watch a YouTube channel called Grim Life Collective, and it's this guy and his girlfriend, and they tour all over the United States, and for creepy historical shit. Normally, places where horror movies are filmed and things like that, or where mass murders, where their graves are and stuff like that. But this month they've been doing all the different haunts throughout the country, and some of the effort that people put into these things for 10, 12 days of the year. And I'm like, wow, but it's cool. I mean, I love it. I'd love to go to some of these places and walk through.
I've got some.
Go ahead, Eric.
Go ahead, Twin.
I've got some good news for you, Craig. You may be aware of something that's been just called the Christmas House. I think it's just outside Toronto in one of the burbs, where the people, they've just been adding more and more to their Christmas decorations every year, to the point that the neighbors have also taken it up, and they raise money for, I think it's children's cancers, right?
Yeah.
But now in midwinter, when you go there, it's like 3 or 4 houses just decked to the tits, okay, with all sorts of Christmas stuff.
Oh, did he freeze? That is the perfect freeze frame.
Yeah, you're frozen there. You're back.
You're good. You're back. Now, a neighbor of mine last Halloween suddenly erected an enormous, and I mean like 22-foot tall skeleton on their lawn. along with other Halloween decorations. I thought, holy shit, that's crazy. I did notice some of the Halloween decorations are like skulls, incredibly well painted, sombrero. So I imagine they're actually of Mexican descent. With is it what's it called, Dios de los Muerte, or where's six when you need them? But this year there is a second 25-foot skeleton on the lawn, and I've got this feeling this guy's doing the same thing, but for Halloween. He's trying to make the Halloween house, and he's gonna do it. So I'll get some photos. I'll send them to you, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can help this guy get put on the map.
So you guys, Canada's never had like an Uber Halloween house ever?
Not
like
that I know.
We have them in like tourist areas, but at Halloween sometimes people put up like just a tiny little maze in their garage or their front lawn. But some of the effort that people go to in the US is insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. The thing with Halloween now though, man, like, so when we were kids, when all of us were, younger, it was I don't know, it was less like commercial, I guess. So it wasn't like every fucking when you go out trick or treating, it wasn't like a Freddy Krueger every five people. There weren't you know what I mean? Like there weren't movie characters everywhere. Yeah, you might see Dracula
and like witch and shit like that.
Right. People actually kind of put thought into it, and that's one of the things. Like I love Spirit of Halloween for the props and stuff. Like they've made it all mainstream now, so it's kind of like it's made Halloween more corporate than just the candy companies, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the cool thing about, we have Spirit Halloween here too, and the cool thing about them is they have the you want to round up to the nearest dollar and donate to Children's Wish Foundation or some other charity. I'm like, yeah. Whenever, that's really smart. If you're gonna have a charity, do it the round up to the dollar thing, and you'll probably get maybe more takers, because people just round numbers,
I've done it there. I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple fast food joints around here, and I always tell them to fuck off. I don't know why. It's something about a fucking McFatty burger trying to get a few extra pennies from me. I don't give a fuck where they're sending it. I'm just like, nah, you can kiss my ass. But the guy that's trying to find parts and skulls, yeah, fuck yeah, take some pennies, yo.
All right, folks. So why don't we get into tonight's topic? So if you're just joining us, tonight is the Scary AF Ammunation live stream. We are on both YouTube and Twitch tonight, so maybe we'll get some Twitch viewers coming in to chat with us.
Put me cool. How would you do that to yourself?
Well, why not? I paid for the full StreamYard. I may as well get.
I already called Irving a faggot. Now I've said it twice. You're done, dude. They're gonna axe you so quick.
Oh well, that's okay. YouTube won't axe me for saying the F word. I use it all the time. Not as Canada man normally. Normally is Craig Bragg. All right, so what topics have we got? Let's what do you want to go with first? Oh, I know. Here we go.
So much has happened since we last streamed, right? Like, yeah,
it's true.
Just quick overview. Elon actually bought Twitter. Yep. There's the Emergencies Act Commission is in full force. Kanye started a race war, but not the race war everyone was expecting. And Canada Healthcare has a new policy: just go fucking die. Right.
And we're going to cover all of that stuff. I didn't have anything for Kanye, but we can talk about it at some point. But yeah, Elon Musk, the hero we need. He's officially bought Twitter. The ink is dry on the transfer of ownership. He trolled everybody by walking in about a day before, after he received all the funding, but it hadn't been officially done yet. He walked into the HQ in San Francisco, I think, with a bathroom sink. He says, "I'm the new owner. Let this sink in."
That's a boomer ass joke.
Dad joke, but fuck.
Yeah.
Give him credit.
The best joke that I heard was after he fired that Vijaya something, who was their legal lead.
Dia or whatever it is.
Yeah, the one who was on the Joe Rogan with Tim Pool that time. And he says someone had posted Elon Musk pictures of Elon Musk saying, "Women don't have penises, and Twitter doesn't have a vagina."
That's funny.
So the best thing that's come out of Elon buying Twitter so far, aside from the fact that he made me $50, that's dope. Daddy Elon, take us to Mars. But is the explosion of can I say it? It's the hard art. I don't want to get you banned. I want to get you in trouble. Can I?
Hey, this is a free speech zone.
No.
Canada man.
Okay. Yeah. Hashtag nigger has been trending on Twitter for like 3 days with 100. It's probably up to 300,000 tweets now, where people have just completely lost their minds because there's no moderation for the moment. Hashtag nigger.
Oh, you're
has
kidding.
been trending. No, look it up. It's like the last time I looked, it was.
I made a joke tweet. I said, "When can I say the N-word?"
Go now. Go do it now. Pull it. Screen share.
I don't want to say the N-word. You can say the N-word if you want.
Go nuts. Like it's driving people crazy. There's been so many meltdowns from it.
It's a very charged word, you know. Anyway, let's see. Canada can join too. I guess it's from Goner. I guess it's either Gooner or Goner. And he says Mars has ice, so we can now let's take Mars, and Muck can be the leader of Mars. I think he means Musk.
Is this nigga drunk? He's typing the way you talk after a few, Irving. Holy shit!
It's Saturday. It's Saturday before Halloween. You have a good chance he is. That's okay. Yeah. Did you see the two guys out front of the Twitter HQ trolling the reporters? So there's these two guys standing out there with boxes saying that they're engineers that were just let go, and they start going off with all this like woke crap about how, you know, oh, it sucks, and you know, Twitter's going to become a place where people are allowed to say trans women aren't real women, and it's getting full of Nazis. And anyway, I have to go and touch base with my wife and her husband. And I saw that, I howled because I thought it was legit, right? Turns out they're trolls because one of those guys' name is Ligma.
And some reporter said, "Oh, have Mr. Ligma reach out to me on LinkedIn."
That's hilarious. You gotta love the trolls, man. You gotta love the trolls.
The other guy's name was Johnson. Ligma Johnson.
Yeah, his name was Ligma Shayea and something Johnson. That's right, yeah. Anyway, I'm happy that Musk has bought Twitter. He's also made a tweet saying, "Hey, listen, we're not bringing anybody back or changing any of our moderation until we have this little panel or whatever, right?" So you can still get shit for saying that men can't make babies, you know. But we'll see. I've just been calling people system.
The one thing with Musk that kind of worries me is everybody's hailing him as this, like, you know, he's a paragon of free speech. That's whatever. What worries me is this motherfucker's talked about connecting your brain to the internet. His Neuralink thing is a little sketchy. He's gone on about wanting that we need a carbon tax and some other shit that it's just like, bro, I don't know, man. Like, it's a little sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, he's
a little all over the place as far as
political leader. But I mean, if he comes out, I have taken him at his word. If he says he wants to make Twitter a true free speech platform, then, you know, I'll take him at his word. Until he does otherwise. But if the guy gets us to Mars, and as far as Neuralink goes, if it can allow a person, you know, who was born paralyzed from the waist down to walk, then or someone who has an accident and loses their ability to walk.
Have you never played Deus Ex?
Hey, great, good for him. What's that?
Have you never played Deus Ex or Deus Ex?
Deus Ex.
Do you know where this shit leads, man?
Yeah, I know, but that, yeah.
Yeah, like this shit goes down a really dark path once you start putting computer parts in your fucking brain, man. Like I would not. Why would you fuck with that? That's just especially now with all the Wi-Fi and how easily everything can be hacked. Fucking, you put a chip in your brain, the next thing you know, some asshole hacker gets into it, and you're mass shooting something. Yeah, and you don't even fucking realize it because your entire fucking cerebral cortex, you know.
Yeah, but no one's gonna force you to put a chip in your brain. If you want to
do what?
Au natural, unvaccinated, unchipped, you know, that's your prerogative.
I mean, maybe not yet. They're sure as fuck gonna try. I can guarantee that. I mean, hell, look what they tried to do with the COVID vaccines. They tried like a motherfucker to make those mandatory all over the world.
Yep.
Like you think once the technology's perfected that there won't be a push. It'll start like everything else. It'll be a nudge. Well, this will help you.
Sorry, go ahead.
What's that?
I interrupted.
I was just saying it'll start out with a nudge. It'll be suggestive. You know. Oh, you're good. You're good. You should do this. You know, it'll help you. It's a good thing. It's for helping paraplegics or people with, you know, severe mental illness and shit like that. And then 5-10 years down the line, it's going to be fucking mandatory for certain jobs and shit. And then, so say they come up with some kind of like neural implant that can actually increase your IQ or your fucking cognitive abilities, right? Then you have people that are getting into jobs and they have an advantage because they either had the money or the opportunity to get one of these implants. So then it becomes a competition, right? So the guy who doesn't have it is going to get passed over for the guy who has it because he's going to have better scores on tests. He's going to interview better. He's going to be more qualified, not because of his ability, but because of the enhancements he's got in his head. And then you run into a situation where, well, fuck, if I want to have any kind of career that's not going to break my goddamn back, you know what I mean? Then I have no choice if I want to be able to compete in the marketplace. There's a whole twisted set of dark paths this shit can take, man.
Sure. And that's unfortunately, you know, technological progress always comes with those pitfalls, right? There are going to be people left behind. There are going to be people who are. It's like life extension technology too. The first people who are going to be able to afford it are going to be extremely wealthy, and they'll be able to live up to 200 years. But your regular schlub won't be able to until they realize, hey, you know what? We can have people work. We can increase the productivity lifespan of a worker, you know, tenfold. Let's give everybody these drugs, and then they can keep on working, keep on adding to our bottom line, keep on adding to the GDP. And they're not having kids anymore, so may as well get more work out of them. So Group Goner says, I am drunk, fucker, haha. And then Ooftaman said, I changed my name to my gaming name, LOL. Okay. And then I trust no one to start. Yeah, that's a good policy, Costin. Trust as few people as is necessary. And then Ufton says, Minnesota is also going red, being a long time since it was, and I never take the shot, and wore the masks once. Well, good on you for standing your ground. Mr. Twin, he is also a pureblood who strongly resisted the mask. I, however, am a coward, and I got 2 shots upon recommendation.
Hey, so if you haven't. Oh no!
My doctor said no. So.
Oh no! Well, sucks to be you because I was reading an article the other day, and apparently unvaxxed semen is about to be worth fucking a fortune.
I read that too. That people are trying to buy.
I'm about to repopulate the entire.
Trying to buy the sperm of people who've been unvaccinated. Yeah, I've heard that. We got another. Okay, we already had that one. Greetings, wonderful
Dude,
and wonderful people. So that's Austin on Twitch. Thanks for doubling up the numbers there, Costin. Appreciate it. But
yeah,
insofar
according to this
as
article,
Twitter goes,
an unvaxxed person could make up to 2 pounds jerking it into a cup.
apparently that's it's actually like
I think a month.
It's a real pain in the ass to be a donor, a sperm donor. They put you through a whole lot of shit, and they don't accept everybody.
It's worth a shot.
Nice.
But
what are your thoughts on Mr. Musk? Their twin.
So yeah, man, for Musk, I got.
I mean, for what he's doing with Twitter, sure, but yeah, politics wise, yeah, a little sketchy at times.
Well, yeah. I mean, not everybody has the same political, intuition or what have you. They can't all be libertarians. They can't all be Rand Paul, So, but no, I mean, I like that he's got Twitter, and it's now, a sole proprietorship. It's no longer a board of directors. If you have stock in Twitter, you're probably going to get a nice payday at the end of it. And yeah, we'll see what he does. He wants to turn it into sort of like competition for YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all Instagram, all the social media sites that are currently all over the place. He wants to make Twitter like the one-stop hub for that sort of activity. Yeah. So there's talk about long form video uploads on Twitter, which would be cool. I could stream on YouTube and Twitter, so that'd be cool.
Didn't Twitter already have?
Says I haven't been to the doctor for 3 years. Well, I am in Canada, so I have socialized medicine, so I'll go whenever I feel it's necessary. Of course, I am also a bit of a hypochondriac, so.
But the next time you go, they're just going to offer you medical assistance in dying. So
that's true. Let's get on to that topic then.
Yeah, what the fuck? Already? Your dude, are they seriously just suggesting motherfuckers just take a death shot? Like, is that the state of Canada?
They really are. They really are. Which is kind of funny because when my mom was sick, she'd had a stroke last year, and when she was sick, my brother, put forward the idea maybe we should, talk about assisted suicide because she was like a complete shadow of her former self. And while the subject was really sorry, what was that?
Did you beat his ass for even suggesting it?
No. He here's the thing, he's very close to my mother, and all he saw was her suffering. So, and she was suffering. And I was against it because I'm against suicide, assisted suicide. But they were saying at the time, like, no, that's like a non-starter. There's no way of doing that. It's, it has to be written in the will, and even when it's written in the will, it has to go before a panel of 12 people and such. And now it's been like a year, and now they're like, you call up the mental health line and say, I'm really depressed and the drugs I'm using aren't working. I'm a veteran and I need some help. Well, have you considered killing yourself? This is what was told to a veteran in Canada. Yeah. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially they suggested that he end his own life.
Yeah, that's so fucked, dude.
Yeah. I didn't read the article that Tucker Carlson was quoting, but apparently a 23-year-old man who's an incel and diabetic, the doctors have signed off on his medical assisted death for being lonely.
Yeah.
And they're trying to expand the rules to include minors, and in some cases, minors without their parents' consent.
Yeah, I heard that too. Someone under the age of 18 was really depressed, and it was suggested that, they self-delete.
Yeah.
which is
a minor.
Yeah.
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 Your whole country's going to hell, man. I'm not even trying to be an asshole or ripping on Canada just to be a dick. For real, that is fucked.
No, you're not wrong. It is fucked, and our country is going to hell. But this is what happens when you get globalist, toadies in the highest office in the land, and they're fully on board with reducing the world population by what is it, a third, 2/3? Like, hey, you know what? If we don't have to provide healthcare to these people, and they self-delete, we're that much closer to the goal of reducing our national carbon footprint.
The carbon they mean to reduce is you.
That's right. Yeah, it's messed up. It's all kinds of messed up here, but there is a ray of hope. We have in Alberta a new premier called Danielle Smith. Is that her name?
It is.
Danielle Smith, who seems to be kind of like the Ron DeSantis of Canada. She's like Alberta will go it alone kind of thing. We don't need the federal government telling us how to run our province. And she's apparently a piece of legislation is brought forward to the provincial legislature, where they're going to vote on the Alberta Sovereignty Act, whereby it's just going to further empower the province to run things its own way, and to say, you know what, we're not participating in this federal program that you've put in place, which I'm all for. I think that's great, and I think more provinces should do it.
Yeah. I mean, considering the western provinces really got screwed after the Maritimes and Newfoundland got pulled into Canada.
Yeah. Wow.
So what happens is going to turn into a thing where the provinces and the, what the fuck do you call it? The Canadian federal government? What the fuck is it called?
The federal government, yeah.
So are you going to end up with like a civil war situation if the federal government decides to tell them to fuck off, that they can't do it? Like, how does? Because that's going to happen. There's going to be a conflict there.
Well, there very well could be, but I don't think it'll ever approach armed conflict, because I think it'll just be a matter of they'll take it to the courts, and ultimately the Supreme Court will decide whether or not the province can say no to the federal government insofar as any piece of legislation or program that they decide to institute. I mean, they've already the premier and the police head of the police services in different provinces, Alberta, for instance, has already told the federal government, we're not going to assist your RCMP with confiscating lawfully attained firearms from the citizens. It's not a pressure. It's not a need that we have here in this province. We've got more important things to do insofar as police work is concerned. And I'm like, good on them. And like 3 other provinces joined suit. New Brunswick, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan have all said, nope, we're not going to do it. So, and the RCMP just doesn't have the manpower to go to every home and say, okay, we see here that you registered an AR-15, got to turn it in. They just don't have the manpower to do it. So I think the whole, banning the what do you call it? The order in council to ban a whole bunch of semi-automatics. It's kind of like sitting in limbo simply because it can't be practically implemented. So, okay, we've got a few more comments. Let's see. We've got.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain to Artichoke.
Don't speak Russian there, Artichoke.
Yeah, the only Cyrillic that I'm going to be able to recognize is if you write out Suka Vliat or Privyet.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, if you can run it through a translator, we'll be able to read your comments. But no, we did have someone from Russia here a while back, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
2 streams ago, and someone from Norway. Yeah, I appreciate the comments. I wish I could read them, but I can't. If you can run them through a translator and post them again, I'm happy to read them and address them. So yeah, I mean, that's a thing. the whole euthanasia push is startling and disturbing, and like I said, I'm against it. I'm against suicide on moral grounds. I'm against the idea of doctors saying this is a good thing to help this person end their life. Now, if they are like truly suffering, they're terminally ill, and they're looking at, you know, 6 years of agonizing pain, I think a conversation is worth having. And again, it's not my decision in any individual situation, but for me, I don't think I'd want to do that. I don't think I'd like to do that, but that's just me.
There is video of a nurse berating a parent for refusing to euthanize their disabled child,
Yeah,
calling the parent selfish.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Sounds fishy. These provinces will all rely on the RCMP for their policing. They do, but they've made a formal request that the RCMP focus. Like they have, the provinces get to sort of tell the RCMP, these are the areas we want you to focus on. Confiscating guns from law-abiding citizens who acquired them legally does not meet the criteria for things that are important in this province. So they can sort of direct the RCMP, but how much power they have, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of. I mean, there may be RCMP who, you know, desperately want to get guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens, but I don't think there's a lot of them. I'm sure there's some activist RCMP. I'm sure there's some power mad RCMP out there. I think Brenda Lucky, who I don't think is going to be long for her job, she's one of these people.
Well, because that internal tape came out, right?
Yeah.
Where she basically is telling all her other officers, like, yeah, no, I basically received direct orders from the government.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
you understand there's legislation. Do you understand what the climate is around guns right now? Yeah, she got really angry.
And the thing is, the government's not supposed to do that. And if they did, she's supposed to say no.
Exactly. Yeah. It's messed up. Yeah, our country's messed up. But maybe Alberta is a shining light that, you know, maybe they'll ultimately separate and we can go live with them. I'll go be a Ontario transplant. You're out on the porch there, Pox? I can't hear you, man. Oh, he's muted. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was in the house fucking around for a second. Yeah, if I'm not at work, if I'm at home, I'm either hanging out with my kids or I'm out here on the porch swing, smoking like a freight train, pissed off about the state of the world.
That's all you can be these days.
Yeah. Oh, Costin also brought something up there, the ending of medical treatment. So they've actually been pressuring and in some cases seemingly forcing Canadians into receiving euthanasia because they just refuse to treat you.
Yeah.
Right. Or they start somehow, even though it's supposed to be single payer healthcare and it doesn't come out of pocket, start charging them ridiculous amounts of money.
Yep.
Right.
Well, they'll just start pulling things out of the what's covered by the province or by the government. They'll say, sorry, that's no longer covered. You'll have to get supplementary insurance for that. At which point it's like, okay, well, then why don't you just give people the choice to opt out of this, you know, failing system and buy a fully, you know, floor to ceiling plan that'll cover everything. Like, I think that's ultimately where we're headed. And I think that's ultimately a more just situation. The idea that they can force you to pay through taxes for a service that, you know, doesn't meet your needs and maybe you don't ever even utilize. It just seems morally wrong to me. I mean, it's theft by any other name. But
and before we switch topics, I also, while it's still under healthcare, apparently this has been happening in Ontario. Anyone who has not taken the vaccines, if they go in for surgery and are anesthetized, as soon as they're under, doctors start fucking jabbing them.
I've heard that too, but I don't know if it's been verified or if it's just like a rumor that's flying around.
Hey, remember, we were all conspiracy theorists 2 years ago.
Yeah, I want to see more, right? Because apparently, from what I've heard, it's somebody who knows a nurse said that this is what they're doing.
Nah, the lockdowns never happened. Didn't you guys hear?
Oh, that's right.
We're all crazy. We imagined all that. None of that. There was never trying to be mandated. There were never any. We weren't forced to stay in our homes for 2 years. None of that happened. Y'all are fucking crazy.
Yeah, no,
Bigot.
they didn't arrest the guy for opening his fucking restaurant.
Yeah,
They didn't bar me from bars and movie theaters and shit.
Yeah,
they didn't arrest priests for holding services.
Grandparents. None of that happened.
No. But I mean, and that's in Canada anyway. They're talking about doing that again, eh? Like Trudeau's come out and said, we need everybody to get boosted so that we don't face the same restrictions that we all faced last time. How about you just don't fucking do it?
Yeah, I mean, from what we saw back in February, they'll just do it again. This time I'll take part. Right. I had something important to do at home during that time.
Yeah.
I had to stand up where I was, right? Not go to Ottawa. I had to do my thing here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if they were to try and pull that shit, it would be like, we're not waiting months or weeks or years. It'll be like, yeah, no, straight to Ottawa. I don't care if they reverse it en route. Everybody go to Ottawa.
Yeah. I mean, I would be fine with that. But here's the thing. With the Emergencies Act, now I'm hoping that the judge does the right thing. He's close to retirement and he understands the gravity of this. If it comes out that, the Emergencies Act was not, he finds that it was not justified based on the evidence that's been presented, that's not going to mean anything. It's not going to hurt Trudeau. He's not going to be forced to resign, yada, yada, yada. But it'll set a precedent saying you can't just do this because some people are mad and they decided to come to Ottawa, So the hope is that that's the decision that comes down. Did you see what's his name, Slowly's testimony?
No, I heard bits and pieces.
He broke down and cried.
Ooh.
Yeah, he got all upset and shit.
It broke down and cried. Is this like a prime minister or something?
No, Slowly was the Ottawa police chief that was let go in the midst of the Freedom Convoy because they basically needed to throw somebody under the bus, and he was the guy. And I think it also comes down to, now I didn't hear direct testimony to this, but they wanted a more heavy-handed approach by Ottawa police, and he was not willing to do it because he's like, look, they've got a right to protest. Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's a pain in the ass, but we're not just going to start arresting people who haven't done anything wrong. We can give them tickets. We can cite them, but ultimately we need to work with them. And the fact of the matter is, going back to the Emergency Act, a testimony's come out that an agreement had already been reached with local officials.
Yeah.
The night before the Emergency Act was invoked. So it's like Trudeau wanted to come down hard to what, like show everybody that he had the balls or something, and they weren't in his wife's purse. I don't know. Or they weren't in Klaus Schwab's mouth. I don't know.
Yeah, seems like I seem to recall a lot of stories of situations like that. Police chiefs, nurses. I know there's a chick I know who worked in nursing homes and shit, and she was pretty much forced to quit her job because they weren't going to let her work if she didn't get vaccinated, and she was just not on it at all.
Yep.
Yeah. I also, on the other side, I've got members of my family that are nurses, and one of them got vaxxed and they didn't die. They didn't have any like serious consequences, but they were sick as fuck for like months, dude.
Yeah.
And they're one of those people that's still swear up and down that it helped. It's the best thing. It's the only reason billions weren't dead. Like,
yeah, of course. I love the meme. I got COVID again. I've quintuple vaxxed. I'm so glad I got vaccinated because the symptoms would have been so much worse if I didn't get all those boosters.
if only it wasn't for the nigger kike variant. God damn it.
God.
Jesus Christ. Enough with the anti-Semitism.
Cool
No.
with the anti-Semitic
Cool
remarks.
with the anti-Semitism, bro.
No. Look, you don't understand. We was the real Jews, yo.
Who?
Me and my boy Yeezy. Me and Yeezy, we was the real Jews, yo.
So has Kanye been like listening to some Black Israelite stuff, some Hotep stuff? Is that what's going on? That might gotten all anti-Jewish.
Like, I don't even think it's anti-Jewish. He just pointed out that the banks and the media and a lot of positions of power seem to be held by people with Berg and Steen in their name. And fucking to prove him wrong, the people with Berg and Steen in their name that are in positions of power in the media and banking industry started blacklisting him from everything. And now he's gone absolutely off the deep end. There's a video. I could probably find it on my Discord, but I think if I get out of Streamlabs from my browser, it'll kick me out and I have to jump back in to send you the link. But he's like, he's just talking on the street to somebody, and yeah, he starts talking about how blacks are the original Jews and all kinds of shit. At one point, he said something like, the oppressor becomes the oppressor, and it's our time. Black people are coming into money and all this crazy shit, which, like, I don't think he meant it the way it sounded. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, he's not the most precise speaker in the world, you know?
No, he's not. But I'm loving the fact that he's got everybody's panties in a bunch. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you listen to the way some people are talking nowadays, like Kanye and some other people, and everybody's like bitching about how awful Trump was. And I'm like, Trump was a goddamn choir boy in the way he spoke compared to these people. Like, shit.
Fuck, right?
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, Mel Gibson pulled that stuff too on a drunk bender. He started calling out the Jews. And, it kind of hurt his career for a while, but he's still making movies. So
look, I mean, it's really strange. Lots of people have called Mel Gibson and Ye now anti-Semitic. I'm just curious why no one's called them liars.
Could you believe people are trying to explain away what Ye said? What do you mean? Like, how are they trying to explain? How do you explain it away? He straight up named the Jew. Like, how do you?
It's Jimmy McGill, attorney. I love it. Better Call Saul's a great show. Yeah, I mean, in terms of explaining away, I don't know if you mean making excuses for it or explaining away and then.
All right. What kills me about the
it, or I don't know,
is there's a bunch of people that are freaking out and he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Blah blah blah. It's like, bro, hey, when did he come out? When did his first album drop? Because that's what got him started, right? His first album dropped in early 2000s, late 90s, so at least 20 years, probably more than that, because these guys usually do a fucking stint of like 5 to 10 years pressing demo tapes back then. You know what I mean? And throwing them out in parking lots at shows. So at least 25, 30 years in the rap game. You think he doesn't know what the fuck the deal is? You think these other guys don't know what the deal is in the music industry? They just don't talk about it. Because if they do, then, those people that aren't in those positions of power start blacklisting them.
So Jimmy McGill, attorney, was saying that people trying to make excuses. So like Candace Owens, I'm guessing. Here's the thing. Candace Owens loves Kanye West. They're like best buds. So she's going to jump to his defense. That's understandable. And I mean, like, look, blacklist the guy for saying things you don't like. Okay, that's fine. Personally, I'm like, okay, I don't agree with that. I think it's kind of crass. I don't think you should be saying stuff like that, but you're free to say
want to hear something funny about Candace Owens? So Yeezy talked about that and he was saying that Ben Shapiro, because she works for whatever his company is, right? Ben Shapiro's doesn't.
Yeah.
So she was told by Shapiro that she's not allowed to interview him on her show. What's the big meme about Shapiro? What's that?
Was this before or after the rant?
After the whole the Jews control the media thing, right? So Ben Shapiro allegedly,
he's a very devout Jew, and he devoted a good chunk of his podcast calling out Kanye. So he, I can understand why he's persona non grata at the Daily Wire studios. But is Jeremy boring? Is Jeremy boring Jewish too? I don't know. I know Shapiro is. They're like co-owners. I think.
That's the biggest deal. Shapiro's essentially just he's like a fucking faux red pill neocon, Zionist is basically the meme, right?
Well,
but do you think that's more or less likely now after this? Just let me ask you that question.
What's that?
Your chat is free to answer. I would love to know what the chat thinks, but do you think that's more or less likely after Ben Shapiro's told, his crew that they can't have Kanye on because he said the Jews will blacklist you if you call them out?
Okay, so Jimmy McGill jumping to his defense in that they are friends. So, I don't know if you've ever had friends that did something utterly foolish and it was very bad.
I don't think it was utterly foolish.
You don't necessarily just drop your friends because they make a mistake. So I can understand why Candace Owens would jump to his defense. I'm not saying I agree with her jumping to his defense, but I understand it. I wouldn't necessarily write off, like my brother said some horrendous shit in the past. I'm not going to write him off because he said some horrendous shit. You know what I mean? Like, nothing he said is defensible. It's not a matter of being defensible. It's a matter of,
all right, sorry about that. I was listening. I had to break sticks. They're in there carving pumpkins.
It's not a matter of him being defensible. It's a matter of him having the right or defending his right to express himself however poorly he did it. So yeah, I mean it was a mistake on his part. He shouldn't have done it.
Talking past poor Jimmy here. It's just like if he had said those same things about white people, they'd have given him his own TV show. Right.
Like, dude, on that, like one of the funniest fucking things he said is that he's like Moses. He's willing to make this big sacrifice to get the truth out. I'm sorry, man, but if you can watch that story unfold about what he did, the reaction to it, the consequences of it, and don't believe that what he said is true, or at least has some air of truth to it,
pumpkin booty,
then well, that ended up on a live stream. Thank you for that, Lily.
I know it did, and I hope all your viewers heard that. Her name's
Sharon. Yeah, it's like 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, my oldest, she just brought her pumpkin out to sit on the porch.
Oh, nice.
Look, can we get that newest Jimmy McGill one up here?
Okay, so if someone I was acquainted with did that, I wouldn't consider them my friend anymore. Well, that's your prerogative. I'd have a hard time cutting friends out of my life for poor decisions they made. Unless somebody like murdered somebody, or raped.
Well, somebody. I know who I'm not calling to help.
I mean, like the words they said, however hurtful they might be, I wouldn't dump somebody who was a good friend of mine. Because I mean, Lord knows Irving Twin has said some horrendous shit.
Yeah, I just might do it right now. Hold on to your pants, Jimmy.
Oh, wait till they give me the
are inherently. Well, no, hold on a second. Now that's
may I please?
Go ahead, Irving.
All I've actually heard him say is that basically Jewish people are overrepresented in positions of power in the entertainment and financial industries. And for saying that, he suddenly had his entertainment career and his finances destroyed. Now, he knew that was going to happen, and he just went ahead and did it anyway and said, I don't fucking care, and now suddenly someone's trying to take custody of his children from him? Are you fucking kidding me?
That's not
What the
necessarily
fuck?
a sudden thing. That's something that's been ongoing since his divorce or whatever. Is this fight to see his kids and shit?
Okay, I want to address this comment, Jimmy. People who say the things he did are inherently dangerous. Well, first
Yeah.
off, nobody's inherently dangerous,
Oof.
except Madman. Now, there's arguments to be made that Kanye has some mental health issues, but as far as I know, he's never been violent. But look, words aren't dangerous just in and of themselves. They can lead to dangerous behavior. Our beliefs inform our actions, true. But just because you say, look, I know people in the industry have been affected by people of a specific religious background who happen to dominate the decision making in that industry, that's not a dangerous thing to say. It's not a very good thing to say. It's not a very nice thing to say. And it's not like he said all Jews are bad. He talked about a specific industry. He talked about a specific interactions he had with Jews. Now,
so he did. Have
now
you?
your mom gay Pox has said even more horrendous shit in tonight's stream, and I'm just ignoring it. I'm not saying you can't be my friend anymore, and I'm kicking you off this stream. He's entitled to his opinion. Now, unless he starts saying, gas them all or something insane like that, I'm like, whoa, take it down, or I'm gonna have to boot you. Don't say gas them all, Pox. Anyway, so, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea that words are inherently dangerous or ideas are dangerous, I don't agree with that. So I think actions are dangerous. I think people can be dangerous, but just because you say something or believe something doesn't necessarily mean you're dangerous. It just might mean you're misinformed. It might mean that you lack a clear understanding of the situation or of the subject completely. He's got another comment, I'm sure. Charles Manson never killed anybody.
Can I address these?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, first off, this one, you are being more reasonable than either of your guests and that guy. And these two, Hitler never shot anybody. Charles Manson never killed anybody. Hold on. This guy said, geez, I'm kind of noticing a lot of these dudes have funny names. And now suddenly he's Adolf Wessler.
So I'm guessing, are these Jimmy, are these quotes of Kanye?
Tops at a certain point in time of the year. It's weird.
Who's saying Hitler never shot anybody?
No, he's saying he's explaining the danger of words to you, right? Hitler never shot anybody. Geez, yeah. A lot of these guys in this profession are Jewish. Oh my God, that's literally Hitler. You are more deranged than Kanye. Come on, man.
And okay, so maybe Hitler never shot anybody. What does that mean? Is that an immediate defense? Are you saying you're defending Hitler? Well, I don't see that as a defense of Hitler. That's a fact statement. That's an objectively truthful thing. Same with Charles Manson. Charles Manson never killed me. Candyman, if you give me your address, I'll mail you a ladder to climb out of the hole you're digging yourself. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. I don't think I'm digging myself anywhere. I stand by my words. I don't.
One guy's being openly anti-Semitic. The other is joking about how it's like free jokes about the Jews now because Kanye opened the door and Twitter is free speech. You're being like, I can understand why a friend would stand by their friend, and he's telling you you're digging the hole. This guy has lost his fucking mind. Hitler never shot anybody, therefore Kanye West is a dangerous man. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to compare what Kanye's saying to being Hitler.
Do I know there was a gathering of neo-Nazis and other assorted lowlifes in LA last week who showed support for Kanye West? So what?
So apparently they're not actually racist. Wow, fucking mind-blowing.
So what? So Kanye's responsible for them, or they're responsible for themselves? And what's the last one? So do you want to see more or less of that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I'm more pragmatic about it. I know there's bad people in the world, and I'll do my best to avoid them, and I'll call them out when they act badly. I just said Kanye West said bad things, and I don't agree with them. but he's free to speak his mind. If you're if on the flip side of that, if you're saying, do I want to see more of those things? Are you trying to say you want to see people shut down and have their speech removed from them, have their ability to speak their mind taken away from them? If that's the case, I think you're more dangerous than Kanye West. Because I'd rather be a bunch of, a million idiots spouting nonsense and have the ability to hear it than not have the ability to hear anyone. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Free speech is far more important than the danger that free speech might lead to. So more or less, I guess that's what he's saying. I don't know what he means.
Like.
So more or less what?
Okay, so
more or less neo-Nazis, more or less violence. Well, I don't think I have much control over that. I can only control myself. So if you're saying that you want to push for a utopian society where everybody behaves and nobody says reprehensible shit, and nobody acts out and has terrible ideas about other races of people, well, I'm sorry, that's a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. I'm only responsible for me. And you're only responsible for you. But apparently you want to take responsibility for everybody and force them to think the way you do, speak the way you do, act the way you do. I don't agree with that. I want there to be bigots in the world, because the alternative is that nobody is free and nobody can think and nobody can speak their mind. Kanye was right about the Jews. It was a banner they dropped over LA Freeway Compass over last week. Well, that's a terrible thing. And again, it doesn't affect it. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you. You can say that's abhorrent. You can say I hate that. But what do you propose? Make floating banners? Make saying, anything disparaging about a group of people illegal? Is that what you're proposing?
Imagine a group of people so vile and malignant, they need laws to prevent people from hating them.
I'm asking, do you want to see more or less of influential people saying what Ye said than groups of people doing what those neo-Nazis did as a direct result? No. What those neo-Nazis did, they capitalized on what Ye said. Those neo-Nazis, he didn't create them. They had it in their head. They're just like, hey, here's an opportunity. Ye just said this. Let's go, amplify it. They're responsible for their behavior. Kanye's responsible for his behavior. It sounds to me like what you want is for someone to be responsible for everybody's behavior and to make sure that nobody ever says anything hurtful or defamatory or negative about any group of people, except maybe whites. Again, except maybe straight males. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm not sure what your political leanings are. I've already said I don't agree with what Kanye said, but I respect his right to say what he wants to say. Unless he outwardly calls for violence or death or utters death threats to people, he's free to say it. There's restrictions on speech that are legal in nature. Everything else is free. You can say what you want. I'm a free speech absolutist in that sense. You can say all you want. You can say my dick is small. You can say my mom was a whore. You can say whatever the hell you want. I don't care. You're free to say it. And I may not agree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
First thing when Pox came on this stream was he called me a faggot butthole demon.
Yeah. Now, I don't think Irving's a faggot butthole demon. I think he's an angry, drunk Canadian. But Pox said it in jest, and he's entitled to say it. I don't care. And clearly Irving didn't care. What's next?
Well, okay, you guys. This is the part.
Interesting.
So hold on. The initial comment that got this going was about, anybody who would say something like that is dangerous. Did you ever stop and fucking think that the world needs dangerous people? I don't mean like, big snood, my dick running around jogging on motherfuckers, or I'm not specifying any particular group. The world needs all these fucking people. It's something to fucking fight against, man. What kind of character are you going to develop without dangerous people in the world? There's dangerous people that do good shit all the time. So why is it a fucking bad thing to be dangerous?
So Jimmy, bad news for you. We are the gun nuts living next to others.
Sorry, Jimmy, but I'm a gun nut. I've got several guns in my house right now. I'll go get one if you want me to. Anyway, no, look. So, okay, you're saying there's a direct connection to between what the Nazis did and what Ye said. Maybe so. Do I want to see more or less vile behavior in the world? I'd rather see less, but I'm realistic, and I know that that's not likely to happen, especially given our current political climate. Sorry, Irving, you want to say something?
Interject right here about the direct connection. The direct connection is they already agree. They already think those things, right? Where's the fucking danger?
Well, my neighbor is a homicidal maniac, but the world needs that. Well, okay. Argumentum ad absurdum.
Yes, the world needs homicidal maniacs because then we have something to hate. So you're not fucking stabbing your neighbors then and being the homicidal maniac yourself.
Ooh, go get one. Get one. No, you know what? They're in the safe. I got boxes of shoes in front of that safe. I'm not gonna go get one. I'll get you an airsoft gun if you want to see one of my airsoft guns. But no, I'm not gonna go get my guns out.
The ammo sexuality is notching up as we speak. Dude,
I don't need anything to hate. Hate comes from fear and ignorance. Okay, fair enough. I like to think that I've overcome hate. I try not to hate anybody except Justin.
Then you're lying to yourself. You do, both of you. Both of you, you're idiots.
No, everybody. No. Look. I hate Justin Trudeau, but I hate him for very specific reasons. I hate him for his politics.
Hate is hate. If there's hate in his heart, let it out, son. That's what you have to do.
So he's Yoda. He's Jimmy Yoda. McGill, attorney at Dagobah.
Well, look, hate is an incredibly useful tool, and it is the same emotion, if the opposite side of the coin, as love. It is an emotion of passion, and if you cannot hate, you can't love. All right, it separates us from animals. Right.
I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that. So yeah, I think the opposite of
opposite of love. I'm not ready for that conversation.
The opposite of love is indifference, in my opinion. So like, I don't hate the new Star Wars movies. I'm indifferent towards them. You know what I mean? I love the old Star Wars movies. But I love the, Marvel Cinematic Universe up until Endgame. But I don't hate the Marvel crap now. I'm indifferent to it.
No, I'm mad about it.
Yeah. It's a waste of energy to be mad about it. Dark Sage 9117. Have an interesting question for this panel about Canadian politics. Shoot, Dark Sage.
Hate is something reserved for people who are scared or ignorant. No.
I don't know if I agree with that.
That's your opinion, and I believe you to be wrong.
I own it as well, but I don't ask people if they want to see it.
Well, you're not presenting yourself on a live stream, so, you're not doing a show.
Really? Every time I buy a gun, I'm like, honey, you want to see the new gun I bought? I can't help but show it off. I think they're awesome.
Hate is poison.
Hate is poison.
Even if that's true, our bodies, our minds are anti-fragile. We're so good at taking damage and recovering from it that it actually makes us stronger. So a little bit of poison every now and then, we do it for fun. Actually, speaking of,
okay, so follow up. He says you choose to hate, you could choose not to. Yeah, but here's the thing: you also choose to be jealous. But a lot of people have a hard time overcoming jealousy. I know people in my life who get jealous over really small, insignificant stuff, like, oh wow, they got a really nice car, must be nice, and they get very jealous of it. I don't think I've ever been jealous of anybody. I mean, I probably was when I was a kid, but I just don't have it in me to be jealous of people.
Well, not venomously jealous that I want bad things for them or I want their thing that I like.
Yeah, I don't covet their shit to the point where I'm trying to work out ways to get it. But yeah, I would agree that you can choose to hate and you can choose not to hate. I think sometimes being vehemently opposed to somebody to the point where it makes you acidic inside might be helpful, like Irving says. You can be passionately against something, and that could be translated or determined or interpreted as hate. All right. So here's the question from Dark Sage. I try to keep up with politics from across the world, and I'm curious how much longer Trudeau can reasonably hold on to power, given his many minority mandates. At some point, I would imagine the Liberals are going to be swept out of power by the Conservatives or NDP if they can get their act together. Would it be safe to say that 2024, 2025 is the final chance for Trudeau if he cannot get a majority in Parliament? So the next election is in 2025, right, Irving?
I think so. That sounds correct.
Now, if you're a cynic like Irving, you're going to believe that the Liberals are going to get in again, because the way Canada goes is there's about 5-6 blocks of Toronto and a chunk of Montreal that decide how the country goes in terms of its federal elections. It's just the population's too dense, and we don't have an electoral college here like they do in the United States that sort of evens things out. So it really does come down to the most densely populated areas of Canada are the ones who decide who's going to be prime minister.
Mostly, there is like some weighting issues with the parliamentary system between the East and the West in terms of population. In the last election, if the East had proper proportional representation in terms of number of seats, the Conservatives would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that Trudeau's going to win in 2025. I think there's a chance that he may be removed. There may be a no confidence vote before long. In order for that to happen, though, Jagmeet Singh, who currently is like his toady, has to turn against him. And so far, he said he won't. But I don't trust anything Jagmeet Singh says. I think he's a complete political opportunist, and I think it could very easily turn on Trudeau at the drop of a hat if it's politically expedient for him. So I think Poilievre would make if Poilievre lived up to what he says he is, I think he would make a better prime minister, and I think that might happen before 2025, which would be the regular time frame for the election. See, I don't know how aware you are of Canadian politics, but in Canada, the prime minister can call election at any time. Terms are 4 years long or 5 years long?
5
years long. Our terms are 5 years long normally, but if he's doing well in the polls 4 months after he gets elected and he thinks he can pick up seats, he can call an election, which has happened before and again, like time and time again. Chrétien did it. Trudeau did it. His father did it. I think it's the Liberals who mainly do it, but I'm sure Conservatives have done it too. So I'm hopeful that Poilievre would win. My real guy is a guy who has no chance of winning in the next election, maybe even the next election after that, Maxime Bernier, because he's the equivalent in Canada to Rand Paul. He's a staunch libertarian, and I'm a libertarian-minded person. I want government to be as small as conceivably possible, and Maxime Bernier is the kind of guy who seems to be pushing for that. Poilievre, I don't think as much, but he says the right things right now. Irving, sorry, do you have thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think with all the events of the past year, a lot of people have been converted to PPC. I mean, what did we have? Almost 900,000 votes.
Yeah.
Seats in the last election.
Yeah.
Almost 1 million people with no representation in Canada. And now, having seen the way the Conservative Party did not stand up when they had the opportunity, I'm sure they're going to get more votes. Some people will be scared into thinking, oh, it looks like Poilievre actually has a chance that the Conservative Party will win and not vote PPC. But I think you'll see an increase in PPC voting numbers, and maybe even seats this time around, which would be nice.
So Dark Sage follows up with, I try to have conversations like this because I want to hear what everyone has to say on it. I am not from Canada, but do try to keep up on elections in other nations. Well, that's cool. Where are you from, Dark Sage?
Yeah, just skip Jimmy for now and go to the next Dark Stage one if you could. I also am curious what the electoral chances of the bloc are. Okay, so the bloc always wins a few seats, so a few being like what 24 to 27 in Quebec.
Yeah, they only run in Quebec, so they could never become prime minister. Like they could never be the ruling party in Canada.
Because no one outside of Quebec would ever vote for them. There's literally
Right.
no.
Right.
Right.
Well, they don't even run in other provinces, so yeah.
It was that they had opposition status by complete luck. Or yeah, they're. I mean, Separatist Party. I don't think they've actually been moving for real separation for a long time. I think Alberta's more on the verge of actually attempting separation.
I think Western Canada has a better chance of leaving or separating from Canada right now than Quebec does. Quebec is, they've got their cake and they're eating it too with the current arrangement they have with Ottawa. So they don't freaking care.
Yeah, I mean, like Alberta, if Alberta had their own referendum in province and got like a 75% vote saying we want to leave Canada, they would just leave Canada. The referendum in the rest of the nation wouldn't matter because they don't have the power to stop them. If I'm not mistaken, the vast majority of this country's veterans are from Alberta, and they would outnumber the standing army that the federal government has. Like they just wouldn't have the manpower or equipment to actually stop them by force. They would just leave.
Yeah.
And if Trump was in power, he'd immediately offer them statehood, and suddenly they'd have the protection.
That's true.
Of the U.S.
Probably, you're probably right. I could see him doing that. It'd be a total, troll move, but I could see him doing that.
We could get your oil to Tidewater, invite Saskatchewan and Manitoba.
Oh shit! I got no power. I'm running on battery. What's my battery at? Bear with me, folks. I need to plug my laptop in. I was moving it around earlier, so give me a moment.
Yes, all clandestine criminal activity before it is exposed is a conspiracy theory. To believe that people are not conspiring, bad people don't conspire to do bad things, is foolish. This Jimmy McGill guy, I don't even know why he's watching. Like,
what's that?
I don't even know why Jimmy's watching.
Some people like to argue on the internet.
Yeah,
you know how it is.
Right, and
he's going to talk about like fucking evil gnomes and goblins and ghosts and shit. Like, we get it. Canada's going to hell. Oh my god, politics suck. Come on, I want to hear about interdimensional Bigfoot horse rape. Let's do this.
No, we're not going to a party after this. We did a live stream specifically Halloween theme. Normally, we don't dress like this. Yeah.
Speak for yourself, Craig.
Oh,
that's true. Pox might dress like that. He likes skulls. I know that.
So Dark Sage is actually doing a great job of keeping us on topic and out of Jimmy's hair. A liberal bloc alliance has sort of happened loosely. The NDP, here's the problem with the NDP right now. They're fucking broke. They have no money. They can't properly campaign. They have to ride liberal coattails just to stay in the seats they have, and they probably won't. Jagmeet Singh has committed. It's not a coalition. The leader of the NDP committed to supporting the government, but is basically shit talking publicly while supporting every move that the liberal government makes because they made the commitment, but trying to shit talk now on the internet and in public against them, right? So that they can try and win more seats. I don't think that's going to work. I think they're going to lose a ton of seats.
Let's get back to Jimmy. Jimmy says, wouldn't you rather go hang out with chicks or see a band? I'm married, so no, I don't want to go hang out with chicks. I have a chick. She's downstairs watching. I think she's watching something on her tablet. I don't know. But
hold on. Jimmy, I just want to know what your race is so I can judge all people of that race by this interaction. Come on.
I think Jimmy McGill is a white male. I'm going to guess. He's a white male. And my guess is that he lives in a city or near a city. I'm beginning to think you guys think Trump won 2020 and there was a massive widespread voter fraud. I think there were shenanigans. I don't know if it was enough to affect the outcome of the election. I think a lot of things about the 2020 election were fishy, but it's a moot point. It's over. Biden's in the White House, and that's all there is to it.
But as Canadians, we also have inside information that you guys didn't have because the Dominion voting machines were first used here in our Conservative Party leadership race, in which Maxime was winning in 11 straight votes, and then at the final vote, suddenly lost by a hair.
Yeah, to the guy who was
he was just dominating.
The guy who was friendly to the dairy cartel. We have cartels here in Canada that run different industries, and the dairy cartel is a large influence in Conservative politics. See, I live in Australia, and before this current Liberal government with Albanese came to power, we had a coalition for about a decade with Morrison and Liberal National Government, which was a mix of left and right ideas. It was not that we lost confidence in Morrison. The party just ran a terrible 2022 campaign. See, you're more informed on Canadian politics than I am on Australian politics. What I know about Australian politics is how they handled things during COVID was shameful. I think it was terrible.
The only place that was worse than us. And, well, okay, New Zealand too, I guess. But base Australian, strange thing, our icy country and your desert outback are the same fucking country. Like, things are so well reflected in the two places, to the point even that some people elsewhere in the world believe our countries are memes and don't exist. Oh yeah, sure, you live in a country where there's snow and ice 9 months of the year. Sure, you live in a country where 19 of 20 of the most poisonous animals are just running wild and in your home sometimes.
It's true.
And then politically, we've also become memes. It's ridiculous.
It was a strange coalition because it was a merger of the former Liberal and Conservative parties into one, and then we had a new Liberal Party form. Well, that's kind of like, I don't remember what the year it was, but basically we have the Progressive Conservative Party, which is, in a name in and of itself, is an oxymoron. But there were two parties, the Progressives and the Conservatives, and they joined forces, became the Progressive Conservative Party. But yeah, the Conservatives and the Liberals for the longest time in Canada were two sides of the same coin. They were essentially the same party. Politically, they were the same party. They just had different donors. That's about it.
Okay. Dark Sage, this is amazing. I have seen a map of the world, okay? All the countries are gray, except for China and Australia, highlighted in red. And it says, the legend says gray. Countries that have not declared war on birds. Red. Countries that have declared war on birds and lost.
The Emu Wars, that's true, yeah. We fought the emu population, and they kicked your ass, huh?
Look,
and then the wild dogs just decided to become dingoes. They're like,
they also have wild, like Australia is that sing-song thing about the woman who swallowed a fly.
Yeah.
That is the history of their nation. They kept bringing in more animals to
try and deal with the other animals. Yeah,
population they brought in. It's insane, right? Like they found out that the horses would actually destroy the terrain because of their hooves, so they had to bring in camels and shit. They brought in dogs to fight the wild cat population. Like, oh god, it's just fucking nuts.
Here's what I want to know from Dark Sage. Are drop bears a real thing?
Drop bears?
Oh, yeah, you know what a drop bear is, Irving?
I've heard, but yes, I am.
They're like vicious koalas that drop out of trees and kill people.
Koalas are fucking psychopaths.
All they eat is eucalyptus. It was a dark moment in Australian history. Did you guys know that emus are awesome? I know they're flightless. I know that. We lost to emus. That is why we have coastal towns only. We are ashamed. Kangaroos are pretty badass too. You ever seen the upper body strength of kangaroos? Those things are insane.
I've seen some crazy videos of kangaroos, man. Like this poor guy, his kangaroos are vicious, right? They're enormous rats, basically, right? Like they're a marsupial, but it's like a 6 foot tall, 200-pound rat. Okay. It has these wicked like velociraptor type claws on its back legs.
Yeah.
And that thing about balancing on its tail to strike with the back legs is true. What, like that from the cartoons, right?
Yeah.
What they don't express in the cartoon is that it uses the short arms and overdeveloped pecs to get animals in a headlock and then balance on the tail, swing those claws up to the gut and disembowel it.
Yeah.
They oh God.
You ever see that video of the guy who went up and boxed a kangaroo that was trying to kill his dog?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm referencing. And
yeah. It almost killed that dog, and he went up there and beat the shit out of it.
He went twice for the dog's gut, and the dog just moved just right that the claws could not open him up.
But one day we will lead the Royal Australian Forces against the emu overlords and win. Hey, man, I don't know if you have ravens in Australia, but if you have ravens in Australia and the emus are aligned with the ravens, you're going to lose.
Look, I think
ravens are crazy smart, like insanely smart.
An alliance with the emus, okay? I think you need to like feed them well. What's the word? Embrace their natural hatred, right? Take them to war. The emu cavalry. All right, that would be fucking fantastic.
Like Joust, remember Joust? Remember that video game Joust?
Yeah. Men on 150-pound birds carrying a lance, and the bird is the weapon. Like a lance is a distraction, so the bird can get you.
That's right. I remember Joust. I was terrible at that game. That was one of those 80s games that I used to play.
Yeah, the idea.
And then we will war with them. Evil Wars Part 2 coming to the landmass studio. Speaking of wildlife, that picture in tonight's slate for tonight's live stream is a beaver from, I think, the movie Zombeavers, where there are a bunch of like infected beavers that attack a bunch of campers somewhere. Now, the thing about beavers is they're actually very dangerous creatures. What they'll do is they have these crazy sharp teeth, and they will go for your what do you call it? What's that artery in the leg?
Oh, the femoral artery.
What's sorry?
Femoral.
The femoral artery. They'll go for the femoral artery and kill you. I heard audio of a guy who went up to a beaver to try and take a picture of it, and he got really, actually, I think it was video. He went up there with his phone or his video camera or whatever, tried to take a picture of it, got a little too close. The beaver rushed him. He was like surprised, and he fell back on the ground, and the beaver just tore into his femoral artery, and he died in like 3 minutes. It's insane, man. They're not to be fucked with, them beavers.
Maybe the
Canadians should war with the polar bear population. No, I don't want to fuck with them.
No, I play too much Warhammer when I get the opportunity. Orson for Kislev, we ride the polar bears into combat. Polar bear cavalry is the best, man.
If we were going to go to war with something, we'd go to war with the Canada goose because they're assholes.
No, like, you don't need to control them. You need to unleash them.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we should. If we ever have to go to war with the United States, we should just like program the Canada geese, like genetically engineer them to fly to specific strategic spots, and then just attack the population.
Yeah, because
you won't know what to do.
The Canadian geese already have an outpost down here where I live. We don't need to be helping these things.
Yeah, they're messy creatures, man. They're
everywhere out here, dude. I swear.
And they're vicious. They're vicious.
The ones out here are pretty docile, but nobody fucks with them. They just kind of have a few spots they have the run of. They have like they have some ponds, and like they might have to cross the highway every now and then, or like cross a road or whatever. But for the most part, they don't really fuck with anybody unless you run up on them like a dumbass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh god. I mean, okay. So their beaks, they don't have their beaks are sort of built like a screw, right? So they can like tear flesh pretty well, but they have fucking teeth on their tongues.
Yeah, you don't fuck with that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're messed up. They're like xenomorphs. Those
And look, Fox, I'll give you
horrifying too.
Hey,
This is that crazy ass hiss honk sound they make when they're pissed off. Like they'll give you a warning. Fucking crane their head back and show you that fucking crazy tooth tongue.
yeah, it's nuts.
And I'll give you Americans this: an eagle can take out quite a few geese, right? Like it wouldn't be a problem. But geese outnumber them like 200 to 1, 300 to 1. It's insane.
And they will fight together as a flock. They will fuck you up.
Okay, I want to respond to Jimmy McGill to maybe put an end to the conversation real quick.
Hi.
At Craig Bragg, when were Dominion voting machines used in Canada, and when was the verifiable evidence of malfunctioning, miscounting, or any other nefarious activity? Well, look, here's the thing. It's in the past. It was the Canadian Conservative Party leadership race.
Hmm?
There was nobody brought any evidence forward to say shenanigans. It looked like shenanigans. So I'm not saying that it was fraudulent. I'm saying it looked fishy. And I really, to be honest, I don't want to disparage you, but I honestly don't know that you're interested in engaging in a good faith conversation about this stuff, because you're bringing up stuff that doesn't really matter to me in order to start a fight, and I'd rather just not. It's all the same to you.
CCP leadership race in what year? I don't remember specifically what year. It was the year Maxime Bernier went up against Andrew Scheer, and Andrew Scheer became the leader. But here's the thing: nefarious activity. For the first time in the history of this party's voting, the moment the votes were counted, they were all destroyed. So, what used to be paper ballots that were kept, that were stored and filed, were now digitally counted by the Dominion voting machines and subsequently destroyed within hours.
Yeah, so that looks fishy. That looks fishy.
So any nefarious activity. There it is.
So back to Dark Sage. Is Australia real? Maybe. Or maybe we all migrated to New Zealand. That's a lovely country island I'd like to go visit one day. We will ally with the Canadians against the polar bears if you can blockade the emus from sending boats to the coast. You're on.
No. We're doing it wrong. We have to ally ourselves with both animals, then together, then conquer the world. All right, because there is, again, the greatest joke of all time. One day, Canada will conquer the world, and then you'll all be sorry.
But let me also say this about Canada, if I may. You may. This is a free speech zone. Everybody's free to speak their mind. We're not going to necessarily engage with every comment that comes up here.
Man, you should go the route that we did with our Discord, bro. It's a forced speech zone. You are forced to speak your mind freely or face dire consequences.
Compelled speech.
Yes. If you don't say whatever dumb shit comes to your mind, you're excommunicated.
That's dangerous, but that's okay.
Yeah. Totally okay.
I am not the biggest fan of Trudeau, or I believe his name is Pierre, the leader of the Conservatives. Both of them are products of a system. Yagmeet, I am not sure what I think of him. He is not Jack Layton, even though he tries to be. No, I don't think he even tries to be Jack Layton. I think Jack Layton, for what it's worth, was a genuine individual. I think he genuinely wanted to help people. I think Jagmeet Singh is a race baiter and a political opportunist. I think Justin Trudeau is a toady of Klaus Schwab and the WEF. And I think Pierre Poilievre is a politician. And so I'm sort of holding judgment on him until he gains power and either does what he says he wants to do, or he reverses it and enriches himself. I don't like the political system we have in Canada. I think it needs a complete overhaul. I think our voting system needs a complete overhaul. I think our tax structure needs a complete overhaul. And that's why it's a good thing I'm not prime minister, because if I was, it'd be more like Starship Troopers and less like constitutional democracy or parliamentary democracy.
And Darksage says, I'm curious if there's any chance of an outsider someday becoming prime minister, and the answer is absolutely not, and by design. The only way to be prime minister, you can't run for prime minister. You have to run for a seat in parliament and then have your entire party elect you leader of the party. And then if your party wins based on the number of seats that they gain, then you become prime minister. By default, even if you didn't win your seat, one of your party members will give up their seat to you, and you become prime minister. It's
and I guess that's the thing with Danielle Smith in Alberta, because I guess there's a by-election in Medicine Hat, and isn't that her riding? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
In any event, she's not going to lose her leadership, even if there is a by-election. So I'm curious if there's any chance of an outsider. No, as Irving just said. That's the thing. I don't like the parliamentary democracy system. I think it's a bad system. I would rather elect our leader and then elect locally or elect provincially the member of parliament that I want there. But that being said, it really wouldn't matter if our government didn't insinuate itself into every little aspect of our lives. If our government was limited in its power and its ability to do things, I wouldn't care what the system was. But sadly, that's not the case. We've overseen this growth of government over the last 50 years, which is just, it's ballooned into this awful behemoth of a thing. And it used to be much, much more restricted, and it was self-restricted, self-imposed restrictions. But you get a few leaders here that are power hungry and are ideologues that have their own agenda, and they push the goalposts ever slightly. And the current prime minister has done it the most of any prime minister in living memory, as far as I know. Chrétien was pretty bad, but
for the love of God,
not nearly as bad as Justin. No way.
For the love of all that is holy, someone tell me a ghost story.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
Bros, I love you, bros. I cannot.
So normally there's a segment on the Ammunation live stream.
Politics.
Absolutely. Normally there's a segment on the Ammunation live stream called "No One Tells Jokes Anymore," but because it's Halloween, no one tells scary stories anymore. So, Irving, do you happen to have a scary story you might share?
Off the top of my head, no.
I've got a scary story.
Of course you do.
Let's hear it. You got the floor still. Let's go.
Justin Trudeau is elected prime minister for life.
Fuck off! I hate you both, and I take back the "I love you" that I gave you earlier. You're both faggots.
No, I don't have a ghost story, but I wish somebody did.
Shit, I got a few, man, but Irving's already heard a lot of them. So, the house that I grew up in, one of the weird things that happened, right, a long ass time ago. So I'm just maybe like 8, 9, my kid's age, right? And I'm hanging out with my mom. It's late at night, and my dad down in our basement, he had his weights and shit, and he would work out down there, right? Well, one night, Mom tells me, go down. We hear music coming up from downstairs, which made sense. Dad had a radio down there. She's like, go down there and turn the radio off. So I go downstairs. Radio's not on. I can still hear the music, but it sounds just as faint as it did upstairs in the living room, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking around and I'm like kind of following the sound, and I shit you not, it sounds like drum beats, right? But it's coming from under this one part of our basement. Like, it was really, really bizarre. And the only time it happened, but like, it scared the shit out of 9-year-old me. I ran up the steps like, holy shit, there's ghost drums in the basement. We're done.
Ghost drums in the basement.
Yeah.
I don't believe in ghosts. So I don't.
Well, what the fuck would that have been? Like, did I have like a 9-year-old auditory hallucination? Like, is that what the fuck? One that was shared by my mother and like
I don't know. I don't know, man. Couldn't tell you. But I don't think it was a ghost
it
because I don't believe in
was
ghosts.
definitely high strangeness at the very least. How about
Yeah,
that?
for sure. Yeah, it sounds
There you
strange.
go. Okay.
I'm thinking,
Okay,
that,
let's
I'm
find
thinking
it.
there was another radio on as well, and maybe you didn't know it.
I don't know that one because okay, this would have been like the early '90s. So when I say radio, I mean like a fucking old boombox. You know what I mean? Like the ones that take D batteries and shit. This thing it had a tape deck in it. This predates CDs, right? Back then, those things weren't like super cheap like they are today. You know what I mean? So we only had the one. I don't know.
Maybe I mean maybe someone who knows more about electronics could answer that. It could be maybe like uh, you thought it was off, but it was kind of like halfway between off and on. So there's a little bit of
Oh
a
no.
signal in there.
The way I remember it, right? So you'd come down the steps and then you'd make a left. My dad's weights were there. That's where the radio was. But like the music, when I followed it, was you make another left and there was like a little half wall and that's where the washer and dryer and shit was. And it was right in the center of that little section of the basement behind the steps, like away from where the radio and shit was. So I don't know. It was weird. It was definitely fucking strange. It scared the shit out of me. I didn't like going in my basement after that, like fucking ever.
I wouldn't blame you. I mean, I'll be honest. I was always as scared of the dark when I was really little
Pussy.
because I couldn't see what was in the dark, and I always thought there might be something in the dark that I couldn't see.
Oh
even
yeah.
even though rationally I shouldn't have been as scared of the dark, because anything that was in the dark was the same thing that was in the light, you know. But yeah, no, I've never had a belief in ghosts. I've always been very skeptical of the supernatural. I really love that stuff. I think it's very interesting. And
You've never had any moment. You've never had any weird moments that have made you go, "Well, that was definitely off."
No, I can't recall any, to be honest. I really can't. I remember, again, being afraid of the dark and, seeing things in the dark, but it was just my imagination running away with me, But
So what about cryptids? Irving has a fucking really good story about the Wendigo. That's like some native. I don't know. That's how he billed it to me, but it was fucking really good. I wish he wouldn't have fucking dropped out.
yeah, I don't know where he is. I messaged him asking where he went. He must have his computer might have restarted or something. Yeah, cryptids. I think it's quite possible that there's something akin to a Bigfoot out there. I mean, you take a look at things like the coelacanth, right? People thought that thing was extinct forever, and then they freaking caught
that
one.
The weird, the weird dragon
like prehistoric bony fish. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all shaped all fucking weird, right? Like
yeah, it's got a very primitive fish tail, and it's got like a hard exoskeleton head, and yeah, it's like they'd found fossils of it like dating back millions and millions of years, and they thought this thing was extinct, but then all of a sudden, boom, they caught one. So yeah, I mean, it's quite possible. Same goes for giant squids, right? Everybody just thought they were like, oh, it's just a fairy tale, it's just a myth. But no, they're legit. They're real. They're like, squids that are 20, 30 feet long, like 40 feet long, the deeper you go. But yeah, it's so I think that there's quite a good possibility that something like a Bigfoot or a Yeti exists. I'd be waiting to see, somebody shoot one and bring the remains in. That would be, that would tell us definitively, I guess, right? But we lost Irving. I'm so sad.
Oh no.
Weird experiences. I'm trying to think of any weird experiences I had.
Any near-death experiences? I know you've had to at least had one of those. Everybody's had one by the time they hit 40.
A near death?
Yes.
Meaning like my heart stopped for a few minutes and then it came back?
That, or you just almost fucking died and it scared the shit out of you. Something. Just fucking anything, man. Anything but politics, bro. And it's Halloween. I want spook.
I was held up at gunpoint when I was a teenager working at a gas station.
Holy shit, really?
I believed in God very briefly. I prayed to God. I thought I was gonna die. Yeah, that was probably the scariest experience where I really felt as though my life was going to, end that night. So I'm working at this gas station. It's a full service gas station too. So, customers come in, I go out, I pump their gas, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing the night shift between like midnight it was midnight and 8 a.m. And
Best time to do it.
so around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, this gray Astro van pulls up. And it pulls up in such a position where I think, oh, they're just going to get cigarettes because they're not near the pump, right? They're kind of between the two pumps. So I'm like, okay, I'll just wait because he's probably coming in to buy cigarettes because that's 90% of the time what people were doing that late. And then nobody got out of the van for like 30 seconds or so. So I'm like, okay, I guess they want gas. So I go to walk out the door, and this guy runs in from the side with his mask on, holding a gun. And he's like, get on the floor, get on the floor, get on the floor. And he takes me around the side. He puts me on the floor. He ties me up with one of my shoelaces and like one of those little like.
Serious?
Yeah.
You got tied up with a shoelace, bro.
Yeah, well, he didn't bring rope, I guess. And he tied my hands. He tied my hands with the shoelace, and he tied my feet with those strings they used to put on the back of sunglasses. They're like neon colored and shit.
Yes. Yes,
well,
I know.
We sold those at the gas station, right next to our friggin' sunglasses display. So he grabs one of those and tries to tie my feet with it. He doesn't do a very good job, but anyway. And he's like, the whole time, he's like, what's the combination of the safe? What's the I'm like, I don't know the combination. They don't give that to me. It's like, you're lying. I'm like, no, I don't. We're going to torture you all night if you don't tell it. And I'm like, oh, God. And then they spent like 10 minutes trying to break. They spent 10 minutes trying to break into the safe, right? With a hammer. It's like a drop safe in the floor. I'm like, you're not gonna get in there with a hammer, you dummy.
What the hell?
What the hell? Where's the tape? Where's the tape? And I'm like, it's in the office in the back. And the office is like this really flimsy door. You can kick it in, like barely kick it in to get the tape if you wanted to. But they're like, oh, I can't get in. It's broke. It's locked. I'm like, you wasted 10 minutes on a freaking drop safe with a hammer that you were never going to get through. Whereas you could have kicked that door in one good swift kick to get the tape. Anyway, when they came in, they locked the door behind them, and they locked it in such a way that it broke, so they couldn't get out through the front door.
Jeez.
They went out through the car wash.
And so the whole time you're tied up with some glasses, rope, and fucking
and a shoelace. Yeah.
That's how old were you, bro?
I think I was like 19.
Oh, you said teenager. I was hoping you would say like 15 or 16.
No, I was in college. I was like 19 years old, 19 or 20.
Yeah, I could definitely see being scared out of my mind.
Oh yeah, I was
crazy.
Petrified. And then so afterwards, like after they left, I knew they were gone. I wriggled my way out, right?
Yeah.
And so and they pulled the phone out of the wall, so I couldn't call the cops from the gas station. So I had to go out through the car wash because the lock was broken, and then across the road to a payphone to call 911. And then I said, yeah, I need to report a robbery. Okay, where did this happen? I said at 2452 Lakeshore Road. I can't believe I still remember the address. Two people came in and they robbed me at gunpoint. Can you send someone down? So they sent the cops down, and they started asking me questions. And they said, "So what do they look like?" Well, they wear masks, but I know they were black, right? I was like, "Well, how do you know they're black? They're wearing a mask." I'm like, "Well, because I could see the skin in the hole around the eyes. I could tell what color it was, right?" Were they wearing gloves? I'm like, I really don't remember. All I know is they had guns. And then he goes, okay, well, can you come to the police station tomorrow to talk to me about this? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. The guy thought I was in on it.
Yeah,
he thought I was in. Like, well, just when you called 911, you were extremely calm. And I'm like, well, I'm not a very excitable person. I don't get really upset. And at that time, the danger had passed. They left, right? So I wasn't super upset. And so, yeah. Anyway, They thought I was
Yeah,
in on it. He's like,
that's pretty
yeah, I
common
guess
around
some people they have a hard time making ends meet, and they resort to stuff like this, eh? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. And he's like, and it's okay to resort to robbery if you're if you don't have a lot of money and you need to make ends meet. I'm like, no. He's like, okay, that's what I wanted to hear you say, because I'll be honest, we kind of thought you might have been involved in this. I'm like, why would I be involved in this? I was held up. He's like, well, you said you were tied up, and when we got there, you weren't tied up. I'm like, well, they weren't Boy Scouts. They didn't like tie me up well. You know what I mean? Like they didn't use like a saddle stitch, whatever. They just they tied a simple knot around my wrist and around my ankle. I don't know where Irving went. Oh, internet's shit the bed. You may have to go on without me. Oh no! All right. So Irving is done. His internet's gone. That kind of sucks. Go on mobile. Tether your phone. It's all good. We're coming up on 2 hours anyway. We normally only run this live stream for 2 hours anyway. I hope everyone's had a good night listening to us talk to random people on Twitch and on YouTube. It's funny when the Twitch commenters start commenting, it's like the YouTube commenters disappear, which is kind of sad, but that's okay. But I really appreciate y'all coming by. I hope you enjoyed tonight's Ammunation live stream. We do this every other week on Saturday at 10 p.m. on this channel. The off weeks we do on Irving Twins channel. He does a live stream called Casual AF. Tonight was a very special episode because it's Halloween, so we got all dressed up. But normally I just look like a normal human being. But yeah. Pox, did you want to shout anything out? Any of your socials? Do you have a YouTube channel yourself or no?
I did, man, but I don't ever have time to do anything with it anymore, bro. I've been being a dad, hanging out with a pretty lady. That is that's pretty much my life. That and moving furniture. So
all right.
I don't have much time for online shit. I'm glad you guys invited me, though. I did have a good time.
Me too. I'm glad you're able to come. Anyway, folks, we're gonna call it a night. Thank you all for stopping in, and we'll see you all again real soon. And remember,
Happy Halloween, retards.
What'd you say?
Happy Halloween, retards.
Happy Halloween, and remember, the roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn.